So, probably the biggest topic of the day on Weapons Day, and a shot that we've seen used more and more every single year that I've been in pickleball, which is about 8 years now, and that is the drive. I know when I first started pickleball, playing in my small town, coming to tennis, if I hit the ball hard, every person stopped me and said, no, in pickleball, we have to play that drop and slow it down to get forward. And there's still elements of that that are true, right? That's what we talked a lot about yesterday. There's elements of that that are true. But if you go and you watch the pros, there's a high percentage of the time that after they serve and they receive that turn, they are ripping the cover off that
on the
ball.
third.
And I'm here to tell you that is not wrong. It is not wrong at all. And if you come from a racket sport where you have a natural drive, natural offense, you should be looking for reasons to use that. The problem becomes when we are hitting a drive blindly without understanding why we're doing it or what we're expecting the response to be, okay? If we are the player that goes drive, 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 usually we're not playing pickleball out there, we're being reactive, and we use our minds a little bit more. So, when we're driving, we always want to think of that drive as a setup for our next shot. And it can be a different type of setup. So that's why today we are going to go, before we get fully into the technique and how to hit it, we are going to go over 3 different set plays, ways to use the drive. Okay? Now the standard and the most common, and probably some of you have heard of this, is what we call the drive-drop combo. Okay? Who's heard of the drive-drop combo? Okay? This is the most standard way to use it. Why do we use this play? If I'm dealing with a very deep or difficult return, you can go ahead and put your feet here, and I feel like I have to drop this. If I put a lot of height under it to give myself time to get forward, what does that height equal for Ethan?
High bounce.
A very, very tough ball for me in transition, okay? If I don't give it much height, now I'm aiming for a very small target, and I'm not getting that ball to bounce, I don't have much time to get forward. So no matter which path I take when I'm dealing with a deep return, it takes a very tough drop where I'm having to manage the speed, control, trajectory of that shot just to sink my teeth into the point and start making my way forward. So here's another way that people will deal with this. They'll receive that first ball, they'll drive, hold their ground. Now, hopefully getting a ball more mid-court when they're dropping. This is a much easier drop. I'm closer to my target, I don't have to manage the trajectory perfectly, and I can start accomplishing the same goal, which is getting forward. Now the problem is, with most of us, even if we have a good drive, we lose sight of that mental discipline. When we drive, we're not thinking about the response after. We're just driving to drive, or mentally we're thinking, win the point. So we receive this ball, and we decide to drive. Rather than get balanced after the drive, we just blindly start running in. And this is often what happens, guys.
Yep.
And now I've got what I want. He hit a mid-court volley. That's what I'm looking for. But because I sprinted in blindly, that next shot's really, really difficult, and I'm giving them a target at my feet. So either we're just blindly crashing, or the momentum of our drive is carrying us so far forward we're off balance on the next shot. So when we're using the drive drop combo, this will be one of the main drills that we do today. The drill I call it drive, stop, and drop. Because that's the mental order of operations. The moment, I'll show this in slow motion without a ball. The moment my paddle leaves my ball, I'm rotating and I'm coming to a split step. I'm not allowing myself to fall too far in the court to give my feet as a target for my opponent. I drive, I'm not assessing. This is important. Remember yesterday, with dropping, we said we assess the quality of it. In my opinion, we don't have enough time to assess the quality of our drive because it's so fast, it's on them in a hurry. So I don't assess. I try to stay down on it, I get balanced, and now I'm just keeping that next ball in front of me. Maybe I have to hurry to get in, maybe I don't, but I'm trading a very challenging drop where I often get stuck in transition for a much easier ball on my next shot in the transition. So guys, you know the reason why someone might use that drive.
Go ahead. One thing, so let's just think about the counter punch. What time, when he hits a drive, is it likely that I'm going to hit the back line like that? Where does the counter punch
That was a good
go?
one.
Where does it just work and see it happen? It's always usually bouncing right about mid-court. How hard is it to swing through a drive and then hit it back on the line if he stays back? That's really difficult, right? So if we think about this, he's planning on driving in B, so that I hit my ball down, right back to it, right? And what that mentally does for him is it changes his kind of thought process from go down the line as a winner, or go to the middle as a winner, trying to go cross one as a winner, but it's just easing his transition job every time, right? If he's receiving that one and he's on the back line, and he tries to drop from there,
Okay.
he is going to have to play it's not light, or it's going to pop it up, right? So he's blasting, right? So we want the ability to use the drive drop combination, not only on serve, but anytime you're in a defensive position to try to get an easy drop back in front of the
Yeah, guys, when we're dropping, what's the ultimate goal of why we would drop? We're trying to get where?
Back to the kitchen.
So the same goal is here for the drive drop combo. We're just going about it a different way. And usually, if done correctly, this mid-court transition was such a tricky area. We're making our life easier here using the drive drop combo than dropping immediately more often than not. Now here's the issue, and here's one of my guidelines, is avoid driving two in a row. I'm not gonna say never, there's a time and a place. But the goal of the drive drop combo is we're driving and we're hoping to get that what? That mid-court or shorter volley. Now the issue is a lot of us that love our drives, we accomplish our goal. We get this short ball here that's low, and now we get excited.
And we drive it.
Last drive worked, let's rip it again. But what two variables? There's two variables that have changed that are no longer to our advantage here. He's now, if he was maybe working his way in, he's now all the way at the net and ready and balanced. And now what's the other issue? A low
It's
ball
low.
here at midcourt, I have to hit more what?
Up.
An angle more up on it, which means that ball's gonna go out time and time again. So I drive very reluctantly short from transition, where I drive a lot from at the baseline because the geometry is more to my favor. So let's make sure when we're using the drive drop combo, we drive, we get that weak volley, that's what we want, but we want that for an easy drop, not to just use wildly swinging. I know it'll work sometimes, but at the highest level, this drive drop combo works against anyone. We have the best volleys in the world. This works at every single level if we're not just trying to blast through our opponents, okay? All right, okay. That's the first way. That's the standard, the most common way you should use it. But let's say, I'll take the ball here. Let's say he does not return deep. That he returns short and it's sitting up. If it's short and low, I'm dropping this, right? But if it's sitting up, he can return short. Is he usually all the way to the kitchen line? He's usually late coming in. He can stand one step off the kitchen line. So now, if I'm driving, let's just say from here, not way back there, I'm driving from mid-court or closer. If I drive and then stop and drop the next one, it feels a little passive to me. I'm only 2 steps away from the kitchen line. I'm almost as close as he is. So if I can hit a low drive, this is where I'm going to use what I call the drive and crash. Not trying to get to the kitchen line, trying to win the point, instant offense with that 1-2 combo. So if I drive, punch it, I close that gap, and I stay on offense. And if I keep my drive low, what is keeping me even from being able, as I'm closing in, to hit this ball at his feet at my feet where he'd like to? What's blocking it?
The net.
But if I use that same play back here,
You can get it.
it's not going to work out as much, right? So if I get that short high one, I drive, I close in, and we'll stay on offense, taking the next one out of here. And this is where we want to be disciplined. When I play, I don't know about you guys, when I'm driving, I'm literally telling myself, I'm using the drive drop. I'm doing the drive and crash. And I'm making that decision before I even hit the drive, how I'm planning to react to the next ball. Does it work out 100% of the time? No. But does it work out most of the time if I stay in that discipline? Yeah. Yeah, it does.
So the main thing, like yesterday we talked about the timing, right, of when to make contact on a drop. What was the easiest time to make contact with that?
ball is on the way down, right? With the drive, it is going to be the exact opposite. We want to make contact at a higher point with the drive. I'm trying to make contact at the apex, so that way I can keep the ball a lot lower and flatter, right? When it's low here and my path is up, not going to be nearly as effective. So what I'm doing, if I get a short return, what I see a lot of people do is wait for the ball to come. And then we end up driving from there, right? Not very effective. If we get that short return, get up on that ball early, right? And then you can make contact at that higher point.
And then last thing, guys, before we get into drive technique, we love to have a hard drive with spin and that's low. Out of all those three, what is the most important? Low. Spin, low, or pace?
Low.
Low. I mean, spin can enhance the ideally low, but you want them hitting a ball from a low position because it forces them to hit either level or up. If you start driving high, if it's hard, it gives them the ability to hit down, which makes your next shot tremendously tough, right? So we love pace, we love spin, but let's focus more than anything on staying level and keeping our drive lower to the net. That's going to be the best way to set us up for success on the next shot.
Guys, this is the same as the push thing. What, if you guys are scientists, what force do we need to bring the ball down? We talked about with the push thing. Gravity, exactly. If I am overhitting my drive, I'm not letting gravity ever bring it down. It stays on a straight line. But as soon as I can relax, now my ball is going to have to take and spin down, letting it go low because I'm letting gravity bring it down. Okay? If you like to slot your ball or you're watching on motion, relax, let gravity do it.
Right, guys, we have a third way to use the drive. We're going to say that and introduce that in a game we're going to be playing later. So that's the first two. Table that third one for a little bit later. We're going to switch gears now into the technique of the drive. Okay? So this is my ready position when I'm receiving a ball. When I decide I'm going to need a forehand, we're going to mostly focus on the forehand drive. Some of you have like a nice little two-handed backhand drive. We can work on that with you individually. But once I decide I'm hitting a forehand, this is my forehand ready position. What do we notice about how I'm preparing to hit the ball? Because preparation is everything on a drive. It's a very different posture than what we had yesterday when we were dropping or dinking. Point out anything you see that's noteworthy.
Sideways.
Okay, I would say I was kind of semi-open. If I was fully sideways, that'd be closed. This is kind of semi-open, semi-closed. There's not one way. We could be open like this, but I'm still what I call coiled or twisted over. That's an important part of it, right? So for me, I'm a little bit more here, not one way, but I'm kind of semi. What else do we see? Pardon?
Your elbow.
This arm, this is a big part of it. How often do we have, I've seen some good drivers that drive with their arm to the side here, right? Well, let's watch that in slow motion. A big part of our power and fluidity is transferring our weight towards our shot and our energy towards. If this arm stays to the side, as my paddle goes forward, where is my left arm going? Where's my energy going? Part of my energy is going here, the other part of my energy is holding off my shot, and it's going to lead to some issues, right? So we're all going to practice this. When I bring my non-dominant hand over, it's allowing not just more shoulder and core rotation, but it's allowing both my arms to throw its energy towards my shot and come together. There's no disconnect from where my weight transfer is going. It's all being thrown at my target. That's why you see pro tennis players and pickleball players use those medicine balls, right? And they're throwing it from their hip because both arms and all their energy is going to go towards their target. What else do we notice? I talked about weight transfer. How do we see my weight? Where's my weight?
It's back.
Yeah, loaded on my back leg. This is a huge component of natural power, right? The way I teach it for higher level, the first half of your drive, your power comes from your weight transfer up to making contact with the ball. The second half, sure we're continuing to transfer our weight to some degree, but that's where I want to uncoil and rotate across. If I do that in fast motion, that pulls me right into a balanced split step. If I focus too much on my weight transfer without uncoiling, look what happens. I'm off balance for the next couple of steps off the drive, right? So we want, check mark, weight back, non-dominant hand over and tucked in, okay? This is a good counterbalance. It allows our energy to come through. Part of the reason I like being more semi or closed is it gives me a visual guider for my contact point. My front leg serves as a general guideline for where I want to be making contact with this ball, right? Too often, we are back closer to the back leg or between our stance. And then we mentioned we want our drive to be low. A big technique thing I focus on is my shoulders staying level through the stroke. When this shoulder dips up right before I make contact, that's going to make the ball go up. If I'm off balance and the shoulders dip down, I'm probably going to hit that right into the ground. So I want to get my shoulders, sit with my butt and my body down, keep my shoulders level through the stroke, and finish rotating and staying down versus topping up as I rotate as much as I can. Last thing is just the paddle. Yesterday we said don't take it behind our head, right? So if you notice, I'm not here. I'm here. But is there a lot of separation between my elbow and my body? Very little. So yes, there's a backswing, but it's not here. It's not a big loop. It's tight, and then full follow through of that left shoulder.
Well, I think limiting the swing size is
Huge part, yeah.
I can hit roughly 95% the same power, simply holding my power here and going forward, right? Give me one here, hold it here, and going forward, right? So I get nothing out of a big windup except it's more likely to make an error, right? So think of compact motion on there, and also, but from here to here, we have to accelerate pretty quickly. And when I'm thinking about controlling the ball height, we have to be able to control the face of the paddle, right? If I'm hitting high, right? If I'm hitting a drive, going pretty high like that, my contact, my paddle face is open, right? So I've got to be able to keep that more neutral or level at contact. That's an open face right there. So if I can keep it more level, right, I can keep that ball a little bit lower on that.
Yeah, Ethan's big on talking about the edges, right? Bottom edge, top edge, right? For this shot, we do not want to be hitting with the bottom edge leading, right? The bottom edge is leading. That's what we call open face. That ball's going to go sky high. So we want to get underneath the ball. If we're advanced and we can hit topspin, maybe we lead with that top edge. If we're not as much topspin, maybe both edges come through at the same time. But be very careful if that bottom edge is leading or if the wrist switches out at all on contact, we're going to have a major control problem. Okay, we're going to show the drills here. We're going to show the drills. First drill. I'm actually going to be doing this number 2 on 2 here. I'm not even going to be hitting the ball. So Ethan's going to be exaggerating how much he moves. He can even feed me out of bounds at times. I'm going to practice how I move to get in position. Before he feeds me, I'm going to show you. I'm in my ready position. The first thing I do is I pull back to that forehand ready position. I turn and I run to the ball, and I'm going to catch it and freeze. When I freeze, I'm going to make sure everything is in the right place. And where I catch it simulates my point of contact. So I want it out in front, even with my front leg, and arms away from me. If I catch it here, I'm not going to hit that very well here. I want to catch it out with the back of my opposite hand. Okay, about where I want to be for that point of contact. Why do you think we take those little steps? Hyper focused on balance and point of contact. Alright, we're just going to do that for a few. We're trying to make sure everything's in the right place. Second progression. We set up the exact same way, but I'm going to drive it. Ethan's going to punch it back. We're just going to do those 2 shots. Here we go. Set it the same way. Shoulders down. See how I finish. I'm balanced. I can come right into a split step 1 more time. Staying down through that swivel. I'll just catch the next. Third progression. I'm going to start off the court. I'm going to be right in here. We're going to do the drive, drop, combo. So same idea. I'm going to drive one, split step, drop as many as I need to make my way up to the kitchen. Here we go. Drive, hold. Get a pretty good volley. But I was still able to keep it in front of me because I did not overcommit and get off balance for the very next ball. One more time. Drive, hold. as yesterday, but we're starting with the drive, hoping to get that mid-court volley, make our life easier in position, and accomplish the same goal of making it up. Questions? All right, let's rock and roll.
One thing. I mean, you're hitting it now directly to him, but I'm assuming otherwise you might want to hit it if the guy's coming in.
Yes, most of the time we're going to drive at the person who returned because they're not yet established. And we've got a bigger driving target to get it low and create spares. Absolutely. Hey,